So thank you for coming today and wanting to learn a little bit more about Cin7, specifically Cin7 Core in this instance. Hopefully we can see the screen. But the goal with Cin7 or really any inventory management system is we want to manage less, we want to sell more, and we want to connect everything. When we think about kind of Cin7 as a whole, right, maybe we're multi-channel product sellers, so we're selling on Shopify, we're selling on Amazon, or fulfilling through ShipStation or something, right? We have a bunch of different systems, right? We want to get them all connected. So try to make it as easy to sell your products as it is to buy online. When we think about, well, real quick, before I jump into the slide, I'm going to go through a couple of slides about inventory management to start, and then I'll show you the demo, and we'll walk through a bunch of different modules in there. So when we think about traditional inventory management, it really can kill growth, right? Maybe we're working on Google Sheets or something and we're manually doing everything. We're manually running reports. We're manually trying to track COGS or track landed costs, and that's taking hours and hours a day. That's time away from you being able to grow and expand. So basically, I like this one in the bottom left where it says managing inventory creates complexity that stalls growth, right? Growing is great, but if we're not growing the right way, then it's not sustainable, right? So let's go into that next slide and how it's affecting your slow growth. So one of the biggest things kind of that I just mentioned was that manual overload, right? If we're auditing inventory levels, where it's stuck in spreadsheets, things that are just taking time away from growing. Higher error rates, we're wasting our cash flow, especially in the beginning. Maybe we're a smaller business. We might not have a lot of cash to kind of get from point A to point B. If we're wasting it on bad inventory management, we're selling out because we can't track correctly. That's a big deal in the beginning. Yeah, really at any point, but especially in the beginning. So the goal of Cin7 is to kind of help with all that, make all that a little bit easier. So initially, right, we maybe have our stores or we have our online sources and we're trying to sell them. When it comes to selling, we also have all of our invoices and bills that are all going to be tracked in Cin7. We have our we have our reporting. We can make that automatic to send out, at specific days, specific times. So you don't have to sit there calculating COGS or landed costs. All that's being done kind of in the back end. When it comes to connected inventory, right? 360 coherence, instant real-time visibility. Everything is on the cloud here. That just means everything is updating all the time. So if we have somebody in the warehouse picking and packing orders on their phone using our pick and pack app, then that's affecting the inventory levels in our system, and that's pushing up to your e-commerce channels. We can really include our sales efficiency. We can integrate with pretty much any major sales channel, and then we have an open API in case we don't have one of your sales channels that you're using. So the goal, again, just to make it a little bit easier to kind of do your day-to-day process. With all that said, before I jump into the demo, when we think about selling, we also need to think about demand forecasting, right? How do we get the right amount of product in to actually be able to sell it correctly? So with that, last year we did purchase a company called Inventoro, and they have been in the forecasting game for over a decade. And they've kind of revamped that product a little bit, and we've merged it into Cin7 Core. And now we have what we call ForesightAI. Essentially, it's AI demand forecasting. A lot of different features that we can change over time. We can look at forecasts for specific products, for specific categories, even for specific warehouses. Basically, the idea is to just take that demand planning not fully away from you, but to make it a little bit easier so you can try to go off of those numbers and not start from scratch every day or every week when you're looking at purchasing. I won't show that today, but if you are interested in that, as we move forward, of course, whenever you talk with somebody else that's in Cin7, ask them about it, ask to see it, and we're happy to show you. Also, if at any time you have any questions as I go through this demo, there is a Q&A feature in Zoom at the bottom of the little bar on your Zoom screen. Type in some questions, happy to answer. I'm going to go through kind of my full demo first and then jump into the questions. But please throw them in there. I want to make sure that everything's getting answered today. All right. So if you haven't seen Cin7 Core before, this is the main dashboard. It might look like this when you log in. You can also change it to look like this. This is kind of the more common view, but you can have all this up top. on this main dashboard, right, we're going to see a lot of just KPIs. We can have all these different widgets down here. I can see my purchases, and I can, maybe want to see a quick view into what's awaiting payment or what's overdue. And if I scroll down, we have more widgets, maybe some regarding sales and products. You can drag and drop this. This is customizable. You can make these bigger. You can make these smaller. If you don't like a widget, you could always just get rid of one. Just click the little X, bang, it's gone. Can add them back in over here on that managed dashboard. Just a bunch of pre-made ones here for you. Also, for this, you can change the time frame as well. So you could see your KPIs or any of this information for whatever time period you'd like. All right. So before I jump into these modules here on the left, I do want to mention that you can click this little light bulb. It's our resource center, so you can see what's new, all of our product releases. We can see some of our benefits and a lot of help articles or help center links in here, so you can get the help you need as quickly as possible. You also have our calendar. We have a notification field right here. I could click that. It could pop open notifications. You can set automatic notifications using our automation module. We have reminders that you can set. And additionally, we have some tasks that you can assign other users in the system. Last thing up here, if you had multiple accounts, you could always go in and select which account you wanted to do and switch from right here. One thing I do want to mention with Cin7 again, that it is cloud-based. You do not have to be in, it's not something you're going to download on your computer. You don't have to be in your office to utilize it. You can log in anywhere, essentially, you have internet access. All right. So from here, we have a couple different modules that we're going to touch on today. The first one we're going to look at is this purchase order module, right? If you're creating POs, we're purchasing products, we're bringing those products in. So with purchase orders, anything under this new section, all the way down here, this is going to be creating something new. Anything under search just means I could go to my list of purchase orders. So I'm going to click that. Right, so well, before that, we also can see that we have our list of suppliers here as well. So you can input all your suppliers, as much information as possible for them, and then we could use them on purchase orders. So if I click that PO button, it's just going to take me to a list of my purchase orders, and we're going to see quite a few different fields here. So all these fields are drag and droppable, so I could always just pick one up and move them. Some of them are sortable as well. Right, so we have all these different purchase orders. Looks like a lot of them are unpaid. All these different statuses over here. If it's green, that just means that stage is authorized. So on purchase orders, on sales, we have different stages, right? We have the initial authorization stage, then we have the receiving stage, and the invoicing stage, and the pay, right? So it goes in order. You can kind of be flexible with that order, depending on how we set it up. But this kind of gives you a really high-level overview of which ones have been received, which ones have been paid. And I can go over here and actually filter on these as well. So if I just wanted to see, hey, what's awaiting payment? Filter on that. It's going to update the list a little bit. If you are working in multiple tabs and then you come back to this tab, you can always hit this refresh. It's just going to refresh to kind of bring in whatever you were working on that other tab. And we could also import historical POs if you'd like. That's all the information on the general tab. Well, we also have this search feature. So, if I wanted to search for PO, I don't know, 10622, boom, it's going to pull that one up. So we have this accounting tab as well. So just a little bit more accounting specific. All of these are red because they're all awaiting payment, right? None of these have been paid. I don't pay a lot of my bills on my account. Maybe I should work in that. But they're all red because they're overdue by X amount of days. We can see what's been credited and what's due over here. So for accountants, hopefully this is going to make your life a little bit easier. One thing to note about accounting in the system, it's everywhere, essentially. So if you're connecting with QuickBooks or Xero, as soon as the invoice for the purchase order is authorized, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second, that means it's going to go into the queue to sync up to QuickBooks, where you can then mark it as paid. That payment information is going to come back into Cin7. So let's create a simple purchase order real quick, and then we'll jump into everything else. Just kind of want to show you what that process looks like here. So like I said earlier, when we create a purchase order, one of the first steps is adding the supplier. So all of this information, for the most part, is supplier related. So I'm going to choose my supplier. And the more information I have on them, the more that's going to populate. You can also add in contacts. You can create a supplier right from here. I could just hit that plus button and type in all their information. On the simple purchase order, we have two types of purchase orders, simple and advanced, but the simple purchase order, we can receive stock first. And if I look down here, right, order, stock, invoice, you can also flip that and invoice right after you create the order. Up to you. On the advanced purchase order, it doesn't matter. You can do whichever, whenever. The only other thing I'll mention up here is we can choose what location we want to order these products for. So if you have multiple warehouses and we want to order something for a specific one, just choose that here. If you make a bunch of edits up here and you want to save this so you don't have to type in all those changes all the time, just hit save as preset. And then later on, you can always select the preset over here. So I choose my supplier. I'm ready to make a purchase order. Then I come down here and I can click add more items and I can add my products into here. This could be raw ingredients in the system. Every raw ingredient, every finished good, those are all products in the system. And I'll show you what products look like a little bit more in a minute. I'm just going to kind of work my way down over here. But when it comes to products, I'm just going to type in whatever I want, type in 3 digits. It's going to show you some products on that drop-down menu. If you have like t-shirts or something or anything with like variants, we could do that as like a product family, and I could click that, type in a product family, give a price. It's going to give you a matrix to do. Basically, that way you don't have to type in 10 different t-shirts with 10 different sizes. You can just fill out that matrix with which sizes and maybe colors or something that you want. We could scan specific products as well. In here, I just want to add how many am I purchasing. Maybe I'm a ski shop. I'm out here in Denver, so it's a little close to home with that. So maybe I want to purchase 100 pairs of these skis, and then I can scroll down. You can also add in your additional costs, shipping. Sometimes people will add in like a tolling fee here. I know tariffs right now are obviously a big deal. We can add those in here. When it comes to tariffs specifically, or really any other additional costs, I guess, we can also always add that in as a manual journal. And we can always, if you don't know what the cost of that's going to be on your order, we can always create a service purchase down the line where you can add those tariffs in and allocate that expense to this purchase order. That way we're always getting your correct landed cost, and the system's going to do the math for you. So you don't have to sit there and do all those calculations for hours anymore. Let's say I'm not sure about the shipping right now. No big deal. I'm going to authorize this order. Every time you authorize this stage, sometimes even before then, you'll be able to see this email and print button. I could just print out this purchase order directly from here. It's just going to download it as a PDF, or I could email it out directly from this page. It's going to give me a little pop-up window. You can choose who you want to email it to. We can set up like an email template, type in the subject, and then basically it's just going to send this out directly from Cin7. So great, I placed the order. Now maybe they sent me a bill. Right? So I'm going to go to this invoice tab. I'm going to type in that bill number. Okay. Choose the invoice information that's on there. We can also extract this from a file using a new feature called IDR, Intelligent Document Recognition. So if you get this like in an email as a PDF or something, this bill, you could just input it in here. The system's going to map those fields from that document to the fields in Core. But on the invoice, I'm just going to copy over the products on the order. Maybe they added some shipping in there. I could just type in shipping because I have this created as a service type product. And maybe that shipping was $100. So now we can see that shipping broken out down here and the totals added up together. So if this was all the correct information from the invoice, fantastic. I'm going to authorize this stage. And let's say they actually shipped it and it showed up in my warehouse. Great, things are going well. Cool. I'm going to copy from the invoice, going to bring those products over one more time. Again, you can scan. Again, there's different documents, the receiving note. Every tab has some different documents that you can print out. Again, you can extract that from a file. We can import it via CSV. But if we received all these products, great. If not, if we only received 90, right, I can change that quantity if I wanted to, more or less. On the simple purchase, we can only receive one time. If I wanted to go up here and convert it to an advanced purchase order, I could receive multiple times. I could have multiple invoices on that advanced purchase order. When I authorized this initial order, the product was technically on order in the system, and I'll show that availability page in a minute. When I actually authorize the order, it's going to move to stock received. It's going to move to on hand and available. That basically just means I can sell it. right? It's actually in my warehouse. I can ship it out for somebody. We can also do credit notes and unstock the product if there are any issues with any of those products. Like I mentioned, we can add manual journals to these at any time. If this purchase order was created directly from a sale, let's say a sale is back ordered and we wanted to make a purchase order from there, you would see that under related orders. We also can add attachments, so you can drag and drop whatever file you want into here. For the most part, it does a lot of different file types. PDFs, probably the most common though. On here as well, we have logs and attributes. So these additional attributes are essentially custom fields. We can get custom fields on purchase orders, products, customers, suppliers, sales. We can add in these custom fields, right? They can be different types. So this one's a calendar view, this one's a drop down. Some of them just have like a text field as well. It's up to you. You can also see this activity log and see who has been kind of editing this based on your user. And then the last piece I like to show is this financials tab. On every single document, we're going to have some type of financial transaction that you can track here. All right, so if you if you're not 100% in your financials or your accounting and you want to get better, the system is going to kind of force you into some best practices. Last thing real quick on this purchase order, if you ever wanted to go back and change something, you can always undo it. It's going to take you back to the initial stage of the PO. We could void it out. We could make a copy by cloning it as well. So that's kind of a quick overview of purchase orders. We can also do the same thing for sales. I'm not going to walk through a sale example because it's very similar, but we have those simple sales, there's advanced sales where we can fulfill multiple times. The service sale where again, it's kind of like a service type item. Maybe it's not something we're keeping stock of. It's like a physical action happening. We have an RMA module as well. When it comes to sales, again, right, instead of suppliers now, we can see customers here. I'm going to click into the sales real quick and just kind of show you what this page looks like. It's going to look very similar to that purchase order page. Again, we have that general tab where we can see all of our sales. We can see what process they're in, right? Has it been shipped? If you hover over it, it'll tell you it's been invoiced or not. Green means that stage is authorized. I don't know why this column is so big right now. I accidentally did that earlier, but right, a lot of different columns that we can see in here. We can search on, we can see the statuses. We can filter again on a bunch of different filters. For the sales, we can actually import a sales order directly from a PDF as well. So we can still use that feature over here. You can create filters. So if I only wanted to see my sales from Amazon, for example, I could hit add a filter, type that information in, and then I could always click into it. I actually don't have an Amazon. Oh, guess I have a few orders from Amazon connected. So you can see those orders directly from here. This is kind of your general tab. This is where you might live if you're an ops, right? If again, financials, we have a whole accounting tab just for sales. Again, different filters based on the different tabs. And then if you're your fulfillment manager or warehouse manager, this fulfillment tab is great. So this is where we can see what's ready to pick. We could see what's ready for or not fulfilled. We could see what's awaiting picking. All these statuses just have little differentiators, what they mean. So some of them might seem similar. Like we have ready to pick, ready to start pick. So ready to pick basically, and ready for partial pick. So like ready for partial pick, only part of the order is available to pick. Ready to pick means like the whole order is available. You can see that this one says back order. It just means that, right, it's in the ready to pick stage. Maybe we didn't have the product before, but now we do have the product. You can also pick and pack on our WMS app. Basically, it's included with the subscription. So you can just go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, type in Cin7 Core WMS, and it's going to pop up, and then you can just pick and pack from there. Or you can also receive product in, or you could do stock transfers from there too. We do have a production module, so we can do assemblies, light assemblies. We can do, if you're kind of an advanced manufacturing, we can do production orders. And the big difference there, assemblies are great for like kits and bundles, and when your products don't have like that many components, it's an easy thing to put together. If we're doing like multi-step manufacturing where we're tracking like capacity of resources, or we want to see everything on a scheduler so we can see everything from like a bird's eye view, that's where we kind of get into that advanced manufacturing piece. We also have our inventory module. This is a big one. This is where we can create our products. We can create stock adjustments. We can do stock takes, cycle counts. We can do transfers from one warehouse to another, from one location to another. And then we can create all those or see what we've created as well in the past. So I'm going to click onto my products list. This is the last one I'll really dive into as far as modules. But this is a big one. Again, individual products, finished goods, components, all of those are going to be products. On here, we're going to see all of our products just kind of listed out. We can see their units and measure, what type they are, the category and everything. With this, we have a lot of import and export templates. So you can do a lot of changes in bulk if you wanted to, excuse me. If we have Shopify or Amazon, right? Shopify is the big one. If you have products on Shopify and you want to bring them into core, instead of creating all these manually, we can always just download your products into the system. Try to make it as easy as possible. It's just a click of a button. If you want to make bulk exports or bulk changes, just export that inventory list. That's going to show you your products with like all their details on it. Make bulk changes, save it, and import it to the same file here. Easy as that. When we actually click into a product, I'm going to keep using that ski example just to keep things consistent here. I'm going to click into it. This is what a lot of people call like a product card. Basically, right, we can see the image here. You add in your SKU, your product name. Every product has to have a unique SKU. That is very important. We have their stock types, right? Is it a stock product? Is it a service like shipping? Is it non-inventory, something that we're not really keeping track of the inventory levels for, but we might want to know that we have it. And we also track fixed assets. All right. We track categories, so anything with an asterisk is required. So we have to have a category. And then we also have to have a costing method. So FIFO is going to be your traditional one, first in, first out. We can do serial numbers or batches. That's all included just in the plan. We also have first expiry, first out, FIFO. So it's going to recommend these when you're going to pick an order. It's going to recommend, hey, this came in first, you should use this product. If you really want to choose which product you're picking, you don't always want to follow that path of, hey, it's actually not really FIFO, it's just kind of a grab and go. You can always do special batch or special serial as well. Right. So we have this unit of measure. That's kind of the next big one here. Unit of measure is like this isn't each. This is one pair of skis. But you also could do like cartons or batches or grams, right? Maybe we're purchasing food. You can add any of these into the system. I'm not going to touch on all these fields. Those are kind of the big ones. But we could also add custom fields to a product level. We can do barcodes. We can drop ship if you like. We also have bill of materials, so we could do those assembly bombs for kitting and bundling, or those production bombs for things where maybe it's a little bit more intricate and multi-step process. And made to order bombs. So if you have a customization product, like example I like to think about is like a furniture, right? Maybe we could order it and you can kind of customize it and say, oh, I want this material and this color and this I don't know, shape or something, right? So you can make those made to order bombs to let people choose. A lot more accounting over here on the right side for these products. All this information is going to go into QuickBooks or Xero. If you're using QuickBooks specifically, that revenue account's actually going to be set up on the QuickBooks side. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. We can add in those descriptions. We also have an AI field to help create the descriptions for you if you don't want to go in there and type all that out. With the products, we also have this prices tab. So you can see the current average cost. That's your purchasing cost. On average, again, there's more detailed reporting on purchasing costs, like actual landed costs, in the reporting module that I'll get to. But then we also have these price tiers. So if you're selling these products, maybe we have a wholesale price, we have a retail price, maybe there's like a VIP customer price. We can also set custom prices for this product on a customer level. You can type in those prices. We can calculate them to be a % markup if you wanted. You can click into that and let it change. We can also append just the cost to it. We can see our stock levels, what's on hand, what's available. I'm going to show you this a little bit more in a second under that availability page. We can also track your dimensions, right? How much does it weigh? What's the sizing? Do we use cartons when we're purchasing? All of that information is just natively included. If you're manufacturing, we can set alternative products. So if we sell out of this product, could we use another one? So not always with manufacturing, but it's nice to know that this just exists. We can also set up suppliers. So if I'm buying this product from multiple suppliers, they'll all be in here. We can say which one we want to drop ship. We have a supplier SKU. So if you purchase from them using a different SKU, then that's going to go in here and you can see their latest price. We can set a fixed price right there. Just type that in and hit save. You can set up lead times, safety stock, reorder quantities, minimum before reorder quantities, all on the supplier level and on the location level. We also can look at our movements to see when this product has been adjusted, purchased, sold, kind of going through the system. We can add images and attachments. We also have what we call units of measure. So if we purchase maybe in pounds, but we actually use grams, we could create the gram product first, hit the plus button, and we could create a new product called pounds. And basically what that's going to do is when the system brings in the pounds, it's going to calculate and break down that unit into the smaller one so you can use that smaller unit on sales and maybe in kits and bundles and manufacturing. When we think about inventory, one of the biggest things that people don't have access to is your availability. That's one of the best things about the system is this product availability screen. On this product availability screen, you can see all your products in here based on location. And then if I scroll over a little bit, we can see these stock values. On here, if I have too many columns, right, I can just do this. Well, I can also make this one smaller. But we could hide some of the columns if we wanted to. I'm going to make that one a little bit smaller just so we can see. Okay, so we have all these products, different locations, on hand, what's actually in your warehouse. Then we have available. That available number might be less than our on-hand number because that available number, if something's allocated, then we can't sell it. If something's allocated under this allocated column, if it's blue, I can click that number and it's going to say, why is this allocated? And this product is allocated to potentially sales, to potentially transfer orders or like assemblies. But this one, two are allocated for a sales order in this case. Let me go back real quick. We also can see what's on order. So what's on from coming in from our purchase orders. In transit does not relate to purchasing. In transit relates to inter-warehouse transfers. Right. I want to make sure that's always clear. We can always see what bins that our products are in as well. If you're using bins, we can see what these are actually serial numbers for products or batch numbers as well. So if you have the same product in multiple locations, let's see if I can use that same example. Right, we can see this product is in the showroom and it's also in the main warehouse. It's been split up into two different lines. All right, that's pretty much it for inventory. We also have financials. Typically, if you're using QuickBooks or Xero, you're not going to use this financials module. It's mostly for people that aren't really using an accounting software, but it's nice to know that we have it. You will have your own chart of accounts in here as well if you do not connect with QuickBooks or Xero. If you are connecting, we'll just bring your chart of accounts in from one of those softwares. We have a very light CRM where you can create leads and opportunities, view those in like a Kanban view, kind of move them from one stage to the next and convert those opportunities to sales. When it comes to money, we have two different things. We launched Cin7 Capital last year. It's great if you need financing, essentially, like if you need a bridge loan or something from just to get you to the next purchase order. We'll connect you with the right lenders. Sorry. Via Cin7 Capital. And we also have Cin7 Pay. So if you're sending out sales orders and you want to collect payment very quickly, we can do Cin7 Pay. Basically, we can add like a pay now button to your invoices or to your sales orders. That way your customer can just see it, click the button, and pay via ACH or credit card right away so you don't have to sit there collecting their payment. It's kind of like a substitute for Stripe or Authorize.net or QuickBooks payments. And it's nice because it's all kind of just built into the system as one. You don't have to work with 5 different vendors to do some of these basic tasks. One of the other things I'm going to show you real quick is this reporting module. This is where we get a lot of love, I'll say. Right? I know people, it takes a long time to do all these sales reports or purchasing reports. For example, I have a report like the sales order detail report. I could click into this one. A lot of these reports are going to look the same from a view standpoint, right? They're customizable in the sense that we can drag and drop and edit these like giant pivot tables. These are all the fields that we're going to look at. If you don't see a field you like, you can always hit this configure layout button. There's a bunch of hidden fields up here that we can bring into it. They're customizable in the sense that we can add in more fields and move this stuff around. We can't, if there isn't a field here, we can't add it specifically just for one account. If I wanted to see my sales detail report, this is just going to show me a lot of information on my sales. Get rid of this one to make it a little bit easier. I was testing around with that the other day. But you can drag and drop. So this is filtered on brand first. Maybe I want to filter my sales on customers. You can drag that over there and it's going to break it up, show your products, show your, what they bought and the total there. If we edit this a lot and we want to save it so we don't have to do this all the time, just hit save layout as, and then it gives you an option when you come into here and select that layout. You can choose whatever time frame you want. I will say with the time frames, we have up to a year. Like this reporting goes back as far as your account has been active, but we can only pull data for like 1 year of time frame at a time. With reporting, so you can come in here, do all these reports manually. We also have the automation module where you can get these scheduled, sent out to you on a specific time frame. So if you want to see your sales every Monday morning from last week at 8 a.m., you could set that up to go directly to your inbox or whoever's email you want. So we have purchasing reports, sales reports, a lot of inventory reports as well, financial reports. If you're using accounting software, you might want to just lean on those, but we have them in here as well, just so you can see it. We have an audit report too. So if you want to see what everybody in your system has been doing, you can come into this audit report and check it out. Last but not least, one of the most powerful pieces in the system is this integrations tab over here. And as I'm going through this again, please throw some questions in the Q&A chat at the bottom if you have any. But this integrations piece is kind of where we get most of our power from. We have native integrations with a lot of softwares. QuickBooks and Xero, the big two for accounting. It's basically just clicking a few buttons to connect the two systems and bang, you're connected. We have a B2B portal, so if you're selling wholesale and you keep taking orders over the phone or email, maybe just set up a B2B site. Basically, it's just a website that we create and host, and people can go and log in and create orders from there. We do have an open API, a lot of documentation online. Some of the big ones though, right? E-commerce, where you can connect directly with Amazon, eBay, Shopify, WooCommerce. All of these things are basically just a click of a button or two, and you're connected, and we can start bringing in orders after we set up a couple settings. So this is all connections that we've made. None of these are outsourced or anything. None of these are made by third parties. These are things made by our team. So when they have an update coming, Shopify is going to say, hey, we have an API update coming out. Our team knows that. They're going to make the updates so there's no downtime. When it comes to shipping and fulfillment, we have a bunch of shipping partners in here. You can, again, just kind of a click of the button. I'm happy to put you in contact with any of these companies as well. If you don't use shipping, like a shipping integration right now, but you want to start, talk to us. We deal with this every day. I've worked with hundreds of businesses over the last couple of years here. So we'll make sure that we're putting you in contact with the right people for your process. Not just, hey, here's a partner that we work with. We want to make sure it's the right situation for you. So with all of that said, that's pretty much it for the demo. If you want, to kind of talk with somebody, of course, reach out to our sales team. Happy to kind of do a deeper dive into your business. We're great for product sellers. If you just want to track inventory, we can be that big calculator for you. But yeah, if you're connecting multiple or even just one and you want to just kind of streamline things and you're tired of, a shipment shows up and you're kind of sitting in your warehouse and you just throw it off to the side for a few days until you can deal with it, and you want to kind of bump up to that next step. I think that's where Cin7 kind of comes into play. Or if you're already pretty big and your processes are working, but you think they could be a little better, let's hop on a call. Let's chat about it. With that said, I think that's all I got for today. So I really do appreciate y'all hopping on. And hopefully we'll chat soon. Thank you.